Miso paste is a savory Japanese superfood with many health benefits. So we can feel okay about pairing it with butter for today's fusion-inspired miso butter baked halibut with roasted asparagus. I'm Chef Heidi Fink, and that's what we're cooking on the coast. Welcome to the kitchen. Today's recipe is all about fusion. We're gonna be marrying two of my favorite ingredients, miso and butter, in an amazing miso butter baked halibut with roasted asparagus and rice. Let's get going. The very first thing I wanna do is start cooking the rice, because I like to have the rice cooked and sitting off the heat so it can get really nice and fluffy and easy to serve, not sticky. So let's get this on. In here I have 1 cup of jasmine rice and 1.5 cups of water. I'm gonna bring that to a boil, and then as soon as it comes to a boil, I'm just gonna give it 1 quick stir and then reduce the heat and let it cook. Lid on, don't touch it, don't stir it. Don't do anything until 20 minutes are up. The next thing I'm gonna do is make some garlic butter. Now, if you don't like garlic, you can just make this with just plain butter, or you can flavor it a different way. You can do ginger or just pepper, maybe some chilies. So I'm gonna get a clove of garlic. In here I have about 4 tablespoons of butter melted, and I'm gonna just grate in a clove of garlic. This is one of my favorite little tips for getting really finely grated garlic, is to use my rasp. This is the same thing I use to get lemon zest, lime zest, that kind of thing. But it really makes short work of grating up garlic or ginger if you need it to be really fine. So that's just a tip for you. So we're gonna just mix that together. A little spoon, actually, make my life a lot easier. So you wanna just mix the garlic so that it really infuses into the butter. Garlic butter happens to be one of my absolute favorite things. And what we're gonna be doing is we're going to be mixing that garlic butter, half of it into some miso paste and half of it into some panko. So miso paste is a fermented, salty soybean paste. You've probably had it before at a Japanese restaurant. Maybe it's usually made into a soup, but it also adds amazing flavor to all kinds of goods. My rice has come to a boil already, the power of induction. So I'm just gonna turn this right down. It's going crazy. I'm gonna give it just a quick stir to distribute the heat like that. Then we'll close that up. So I'm gonna turn this down to one of the lowest settings, so it just basically steams very gently. At this point, don't stir it or touch it for minimum 20 minutes, and then we'll take it off the heat. Okay, so my garlic butter smells good. Now you can cook this a bit longer if you want the garlic flavor to be less intense, but I like it like that. So we've got some 2 tablespoons of miso paste and about 2/3 of the cup of panko breadcrumbs. Panko is another of my favorite kitchen ingredients. It's an ultra crispy Japanese breadcrumb. It works really well in baking and in deep frying to always be really crispy. So it's one of my favorites. So I need to get a measuring spoon. Okay, so 2 tablespoons of garlic butter into the miso. This is really tricky. Don't try pouring out of a flat saucepan, everybody. I'm gonna put the rest of the garlic butter into my panko crumbs. So we're gonna mix the panko crumbs up. I'll just move that out of the way. We're gonna mix the panko crumbs up first. I might add some black pepper to that right now, actually. I do love me some black pepper, but you are not gonna add salt to these crumbs at all, because the miso is very salty. So the miso will carry enough salt for the whole recipe. So here we just wanna make sure that the butter's really evenly mixed. I'm using a fork so I can break up any clumps. Sometimes when you pour the butter right on the breadcrumbs, it likes to clump up. So this way you can just break up the clumps so all of the crumbs are evenly coated with this delicious garlic butter. It smells amazing in here, by the way. If you love garlic butter, you would love to be here. All right, so now I'm just using a fork as well. You could use like a mini whisk if you have one, to mix the miso with the garlic butter. Ooh, I just want to mix it so it's evenly mixed, so the butter like isn't oozing out of the miso. You kind of have a bit of an emulsion there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my halibut out of the fridge. I've got some halibut here that I've cut up previously. Now I'm just gonna pat this dry with some paper towel. And you wanna make sure that you do this while the miso butter is still a little bit warm, otherwise it doesn't like to spread. So if you've made this ahead of time, which you totally can, just put it back in the microwave for a second to heat it up. So this will be good for 3 to 4 pieces of halibut. I've got 3 right here, so I might only use 3/4 of this. And you're just gonna use your fingers to spread that all over. Now you can do this with another type of whitefish. I also have some rockfish that I've already pre-done, so later on in the episode I'll be showing you how to cook the same flavoring, same method with rockfish as well as halibut, because not all of us can afford halibut or have access to really good halibut. But rockfish is a little easier to find. So we're trying to spread this as evenly as we can. You want to kind of cover the entire fish. So see how that spreads really easily? If you had let this harden, it would really be difficult to spread. So just giving you that tip that you can heat up the miso butter again if you need to. I'm just gonna wash my hands now because I've been touching this fish and this miso butter. Now I have some vegetables prepped that I'm gonna be baking this with. So with this halibut, I'm gonna be using some asparagus, and with our rockfish, I'm gonna be using some green beans. So I'm gonna get the green beans out first and get those in the oven. So the nice thing about this with the asparagus, we're gonna be baking this in the oven. Oh, you know what? I totally forgot. The panko crumbs. We don't wanna forget that part. Hang on. Before we get carried away with our veggies, we wanna get the panko crumbs all over this. Okay, it's okay if you lose some of them, and then you pat that down, just so that so the miso is kind of sticky, and it really helps the panko crust here to stick to this. This is super, super delicious. Okay, so with the halibut, we're gonna put this in the oven, and it only takes about 10 minutes to bake, maybe 12 at the outside. So some chopped asparagus will cook on the tray alongside it, and they'll cook at the same time. But green beans take about 20 minutes to roast in the oven. So I'm gonna start the green beans for the rockfish, and then we'll get those in the oven. So I've got a tray here, parchment lined. I'm going to the fridge now to get my green beans. Okay, and these I will season with a little bit of salt and pepper. Just a bit, you don't want to go overboard. And again, feel free to use whatever other seasonings you might like. There we go. I always love freshly ground pepper. It has a nice flavor. And then I'm gonna put a little melted butter. And you could use oil, olive oil, whatever you want. I'm just trying to keep in the same sort of theme as what we've got going on in the rest of the meal. So we're gonna toss this. I think I just have to use my hands. We're gonna toss this up, and I'm gonna put these green beans on the tray. Okay, and I have 4 pieces of rockfish, so I'm gonna leave 4 little holes here for me to put the fish in. All right, those need to cook for 10 minutes before we can finish the rest of our meal. Right now, we're gonna go on the road, but stick around, because when we come back, we're gonna finish off this delicious miso butter roasted fish.
Cooking on the Road is brought to you by Whisk Victoria, the small but mighty kitchen gadget store for every home chef.
I'm here at the Mustard Seed Food Hub. This is a massive operation, one of the biggest food banks in southern Vancouver Island, and I'm here with Emily Palamaka, who's going to tell me all about it.
Thanks for being here. One thing that I was hoping to highlight is the volume of food that comes through this building every day. So as you see, our drivers are unloading. We have 3 trucks on the road Monday to Friday. full-time, picking up from all our grocery partners, including Country Grocer. So they weigh everything that comes off the truck. It's between 8,000 to 12,000 pounds per day.
Per day?
Yes, fresh produce, dairy, some meat. It's brought into our cooler back there, and then our volunteers at our different sorting stations go through it and decide what is compost, what can be salvaged a little bit, and then they repackage it for our up to 70 agencies in the food share network. Based on their needs, we get the food that they need for their clients.
Okay, and so just to be clear, this is all food at grocery stores that would otherwise go to waste, right? This is like headed for the landfill.
Yes.
Most of the stuff can be resold, but it's being pulled off the grocery shelves for one reason or another.
It's got a little blemish on it, or it's a little bit shrunken, which our Chef Hammer in the kitchen has a list for our volunteers of what he's looking for the meals he prepares. So things that won't make it to the next day to go out to our agencies, our volunteers sort through that and bring it to the kitchen. And I can show you that right now.
Oh my God, that'd be great.
All right.
So this is our gleaning line. This is where all the produce comes in from all of our grocery agencies. And we glean it, we sort through it, and all the product that is nice enough to go back out into the community and back out to different markets and food banks around the CRD gets sorted out here. And then down in this area, he's got stuff that's not quite so perfect.
Like this kind of wilty pepper can still be used, and you're gonna do something with it?
That's right. We take all this stuff that's sort of middle ground, and we take that and we process it down into different meals for our Queen Street location and here at the warehouse as well. So here we are in the commercial kitchen that was built by Hero Work and a number of community partners.
And looks like you're making some kind of vegetable medley.
Yes, this is a vegetable curry.
All right, and over here I see...
Over here we have, it's a fruit puree, so this is all the bits and bobs of our fruit. So then we tray it up and we turn it into fruit leather overnight.
In a dehydrator?
That's right. Package it up and send it out to the communities.
Oh, this is delicious. That's an amazing use of all that extra fruit.
That's pretty good, and I'd love to show you the next kitchen where we process all the fruit. So here we are in the fruit and vegetable processing kitchen. And in here we take all the secondary fruit that we can't give to the community right away, and we break it down. We wash it, clean it as best we can, peel it, cut it, trim it, and either freeze it or send it over to the fruit leather processing.
What blows my mind the most about this is that all of this food was going to the landfill a few years ago.
It's pretty amazing. We're super lucky to rescue as much food as we can here. And before I started, we were at about 14% of the rescued food went into compost. We've got that down to about 5%.
That's incredible. This is amazing. Thank you so much for showing me this facility and showing me around. This has been fantastic, and it was nice to see you again.
Great to see you too. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much. Welcome back to the kitchen. Our green beans are ready, so I'm just gonna pull them out of the oven so I can finish the miso-butter halibut. So these are looking really nice. They could almost be ready like this, but they could also stand a little bit more time in the oven. I'm just trying not to burn myself. Okay, before I put the rockfish on here, I do wanna check my rice and make sure that it's cooked, so let's take a look at that. Yeah, it's looking nice. There's been enough time. If I poke my spoon in there, I can see that it's dried out. The rice is nice and fluffy. Smells very good. So I'm just gonna turn the heat off and leave the lid on, and we're just gonna let that sit for a minimum of 10 minutes so that it's nice and firm and fluffy by the time we serve it. It doesn't get mushy that way. So let us transfer our rockfish. So this is the halibut you saw me make. This is the rockfish. I made the exact same way. This is a thinner piece of fish as well, so these will cook a lot more quickly than the halibut, which is another reason I wanted to give an advanced time to the green beans in the oven. So I've got a little bit of the miso butter on here and the nice generous dusting of the panko crumbs, and now we are gonna put this back in the oven. Okay. Now I'm gonna do the same thing with our halibut. Now I'm just gonna move this plate, just hang on. So with the halibut, I'm doing the same treatment, except I'm doing asparagus, which will cook in the same amount of time. So I've got some salt and pepper on here. I'm just gonna get my melted butter, And like I said, you could use olive oil or avocado oil, whatever you want. And I'm gonna mix that up. I'm gonna use tongs this time, so my hands don't get buttery. Even though I do like some buttery hands from time to time. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're spreading this asparagus out in a thin, even layer. And then we're gonna make some little pockets for our halibut. Now the reason that you wanna do this in a sheet pan as opposed to say like a casserole dish with sides is because you want the hot air to be circulating over all of these things. You want the asparagus to get crispy a little bit or browned or caramelized, and you want nice hot air on those panko crumbs so that they get nice and crispy. So we're gonna put our pieces of fish in here. And so these, as you can see, are thicker than the rockfish, so they are gonna take a bit more time. But you wanna be careful not to overcook fish. So now we got our beautiful asparagus and halibut, and I'm gonna put this in the oven. Both ovens are at 400 degrees, by the way. There we go. It's pretty quick and easy, so big flavor with not a lot of time. It's only gonna take about 10 to 12 minutes to cook, so I'm gonna clean up here and get some nice plates ready to serve our delicious meal. All right, it's been 10 minutes. I've pulled the rockfish out. Look how beautiful. I'm just gonna go grab the halibut. Oh, you guys, look at how good that looks. We've got some perfectly cooked asparagus, some really lovely golden crumbs, and the smell in here is fantastic. So I'm gonna plate some halibut and asparagus on one plate with the rice and some green beans and rockfish on the other plate. I've got these two really nice plates here. All right, now, here we go. Ooh, I don't know if I'm gonna do tongs or a flipper. That is the question of the century. Ooh, let's do a flipper. Oh, there we go. That is really nicely cooked. Okay, and then some asparagus, and if you get some extra little crispy crumbs on there, that is totally fine because it just adds to the experience. Now we're gonna do the same thing for the rockfish. And I'm also gonna get some really nice fluffy jasmine rice on these. And if you happen to have a little extra garlic butter, you could put that on the rice as well. All right. Now the asparagus stays really bright green because it cooks more quickly. The green beans will be a little more dull, but they'll have so much flavor because you've cooked them long enough. They're not gonna be tough. So we've got this rice is super nice and fluffy here, and we're gonna pop it on the plate. There we go. There we go. Oh, looks good. Now, something you can add to the plate is either a couple wedges of lemon or lime, if people would like that. People always like lemon or lime with their fish. It also tastes really good with green vegetables. Okay, I'm just gonna get the cutlery for everybody. And there you have it. Miso butter baked halibut with roasted asparagus or roasted green beans. So delicious, quick and easy for a weekday meal.
Pairings are brought to you by Liquor Plus. Discover the plus.
With all the big flavors in this meal, the miso, the butter, the asparagus, the garlic, I'm really wondering what's gonna pair with this. With us is Stuart Bruce from Haywire Winery to help us out. Thank you so much for joining us.
Nice to see you, Chef.
Yeah, nice to see you.
I brought for you today Haywire Winery's Pinot Gris 2022.
Yeah.
As you can see, it's a brand new label for us. We've gone from a fully white label to a multicolored,
it's beautiful,
very expressionist style of label. So it's a brand new product.
I'm really interested, why do you think this is gonna pair well with this meal?
Well, you have a number of elements in the dish. Now, you always want to pair the weight of the food with the weight of the wine.
Okay, yes.
That's one of your starting points. Another thing is to kind of understand how the food was cooked and prepared, and some of the seasoning, perhaps maybe some of the side dishes are important. You know, often it's the cooking style as well that's really important. Okay. With the Pinot Gris, has a slight bit of sweetness to it, and also the way we make wine at Haywire Winery, we use concrete as our fermentation vessels and our aging vessels.
Okay.
And concrete is a little different in winemaking in so much that it adds a little texture, it gives you a little weight.
Okay, okay. Can you pour it? I really want to try this.
Let's try that. Oh.
I'm very excited to try this out.
I'm excited to try it with your food.
All right, well, cheers.
Cheers.
Okay. Well, I'll try the wine first, right? I always want to dig into the food, but we should try the wine
Jump right in.
itself. Oh, that's lovely. That's really good. Okay. I think, so you have the halibut, I have the rockfish.
Right.
And you've got the asparagus, I've got the green beans, because I did 2 variations of this recipe. So
Okay, perfect.
let's try this.
I think it'll work with both.
Yeah. That's so good.
It should also work with the asparagus.
Well, if you don't mind me grabbing an asparagus.
Go for it, jump right in there.
It works really well, like that saltiness, this kind of like enhances the flavors, but kind of cuts it at the same time. I'm gonna try this with the
So it's a little acidity. Usually it's classic in BC wines to have a little acidity in the wine. And that helps with, you have a little bit of creaminess in the miso and the butter. So a little bit of acidity just to kind of cut through that fat. And then also the weight of the wine should really work with the flesh of the fish as well.
This is crazy. I've never had a wine pair so well with asparagus, honestly.
You know, even with that crunch, it kind of really, really matches with the bite of the wine. So you have a little bit of a texture thing happening, as well as the richness and a little bit of acidity cut through the fat.
Okay, this is really, really good. So the winery is in the Okanagan?
Summerland, BC. Beautiful Summerland, BC.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, we have a whole new winery lounge, and of course, as you see these brand new spanking labels, we have a brand new lounge at the winery, and also what you see on the label, we have done the whole winery in the same artwork.
Oh, really? And who's the artist?
The artist is Scott Soom. He's a local artist from Vancouver. Started as a graffiti artist, now he's more of a conceptual artist.
Okay.
And he's done all of our labels. He's done the inside of the lounge and also the outside of the winery.
Oh, that's amazing. That's actually really cool branding. Thank you so much for joining us. This was great.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Show us your take on this delicious meal. Share your photo and tag us on social media at Chef Heidi Fink and at CHEK Media. I'm Chef Heidi Fink. The more you learn, the better it tastes. And I want to taste more.
Absolutely.
Of this delicious meal. This wine was really good. I can't believe how well it's paired with the asparagus, actually. I might have to steal more from your plate.